How can I get started in oceanic races? In truth, it's a really difficult thing to get started because you need access to a boat, and if you can't afford your own boat, then you need to find someone to sail with. So I think I would recommend a couple of things. Join a sailing club, your local sailing club. Just try and talk to people, try and get involved, offer yourself for deliveries, offer yourself to kind of help people with winter maintenance and all of that sort of thing, so that you're really kind of proving that you're valuable for the good times as well as the bad times. If you can afford it, then there are ways to kind of pay for a place on oceanic races. So many sailing schools in the UK offer places on things like the RORC, the Royal Ocean Racing Club Transat race, or the ARC. And then the other thing is, if you are contemplating or in a position where you may be able to buy your own boat, just remember it doesn't have to be brand new and it doesn't have to be enormous to cross an ocean. It just needs to be well maintained and of an ocean going design. So don't be kind of sucked into the idea that you have to spend hundreds of thousands on a boat to cross an ocean. Actually, you could spend a lot less than that so long as you're careful with what you buy. What has been the most nerve-wracking part of your career so far? I think, I've experienced quite a lot of moments where I've felt nervous in my career. I always feel really nervous pre-race, any race at all. I'm very nervous. I'm nervous every time I set off to cross an ocean. I'm terrified every time I have to climb that mast behind me. But I think, the biggest steps for me have always been the initiation of a project. So in 2019, when I started my Vendée Globe campaign, I started with a £25,000 loan and nothing else. And I pushed myself to the limits of what a human being was capable of, I think, just trying to get the race going. And that was really nerve-wracking, but I think managing those times helped me manage the nerve-wracking moments in the race itself, because I had the confidence in myself to get through the difficult times. How do you keep yourself fit for the race? Do you have a training plan? So my race fitness is really important to me, and I have to work on my fitness every day. At the moment, I am working on my cardio through running. I run around 4 times a week, between 7 and 10k per run. And then I'll do kind of a longer cardio session if I'm able to during a week, and that'll be a couple of hours mountain biking or a longer run. And then I do weight training 3 times a week. So that is, I do a session for deadlifts, a session with squats, and a session of bench work. And then I interchange that with a lot of work on my core and flexibility. Has the new Medallia broken the old one's top speed yet, and what are those speeds? Yes, the new Medallia has broken the old Medallia's top speed. So the old Medallia's top speed was actually 27 knots, which I got surfing down a wave in the Southern Ocean during the Vendée Globe in 2020. The new Medallia's top speed is 29.7 knots, so it's not actually that much faster. But I think the big thing about this boat, the design and the foils, is that the sustained speeds are a lot higher than the old boat. So I will really happily cruise this boat at 22, 23 knots. And in the old boat, it only would have been possible to surf at those speeds. Do you wear noise cancelling headphones? No, I don't wear noise cancelling headphones. I do listen to music while I'm sailing, but I always kind of like to have one ear listening to the boat and the sounds of the boat so that I can tell if there's something wrong, and for that reason I don't wear noise cancelling headphones. What's my favourite footwear? Boots. I wear boots all the time, and whether it's kind of these little ankle boots like this that I like wearing ashore, or I actually like wearing sailing wellies when I'm on the boat because I like that ankle support. How do you keep warm? Is there a heater on board or only tea or soup? Keeping warm is difficult, and especially because the hull of Medallia is so thin. So when you go down into the Southern Ocean where the water temperature is only 6 or 7 degrees, that pulls all the way through into the boat. So everything is cold and everything is damp. I need to keep warm by wearing the right clothing, so wearing lots of layers and making sure that my base layers wick moisture away from my body. The next Vendée, then we are going to have a diesel heater on the boat that will blow hot air, but I'll only be able to use that very occasionally. Running the engine actually warms up the cabin quite a bit, so that's quite nice. And other than that, yes, it's a cup of tea to keep me warm. What meals are you choosing for your next race? So the next race is the Route du Rhum. That starts on the 6th of November, and we're starting to put the food together for that now. My favourite is still the fish and potato in parsley sauce. I'm also enjoying a sweet corn and butternut squash casserole, which is very good. But actually, we've got kind of a bit of a leftover food situation from the season, so waste not, want not. I'm actually just kind of taking what's left. Best advice to someone who wants to get into the shore side of the IMOCA circuit. So there are some really great careers on offer supporting offshore race teams, and the kind of skills that you need or that you can learn from joining a team are boat building skills, systems and electronics maintenance, rope work and rigging, and I would just keep kind of looking at the social media feeds of any offshore teams to see when there may be jobs available. But also, if you are able to travel, consider going and looking at some of the more international teams, because there's many more teams based in France than there are in the UK, and so there are many more job offers available in France. Poppadoms or naan? Poppadoms. What is the most challenging part about sailing? I think one of the reasons that I love sailing as a sport so much is because it challenges every part of you, and there is never going to be a point at which I know everything there is to know about sailing. There's always going to be a way to grow, to stretch. And as I change as a person, as I get older, as my body changes, then I need to adapt the way that I manage my sailing. And so I think, it's challenging because it's an all-round challenge. It's mental, it's emotional, it's endurance, it's physical, and that's why I love it. How do you balance and plan sleep when sailing alone offshore? When you're sailing alone offshore, then you kind of approach sleep in two different ways. So one is making sure you get the minimum amount of sleep necessary to function. And for me, that is 4 hours in a 24-hour period. Now, I can't sleep for longer than 30 minutes at a time because the boat's moving all the time, and so the environment is changing all the time, and I just need to wake up at a minimum every 30 minutes to make sure that the boat is stable, it's not in a danger, but also that I'm still going fast. And so I will take those 30-minute naps whenever I can. But then kind of my second strategy is to look for opportunities to bank sleep, to increase on that 4-hour limit. And so if conditions are stable, or if I know that it's going to be challenging 24 hours ahead, then I might look for whatever opportunities I can to keep banking sleep. Even if I think I'm not tired, keep trying to bank the sleep so that I can stay awake for longer in times when I really need to be awake and active on the boat.